What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Week 8, college football. Week 7,
Is that
NFL.
playing good?
Zach's in his car, squeezing in some college football takes here before work dinner. Can appreciate that. Ryan, not so much. Ryan also has his do or die still to serve. He was planning on eating a pound of dry celery, but guess I'll have to wait till next week. How are we doing?
Good. Great weekend of college football. Another weekend ahead. We were taping and it went out, but let's just run down real quick last weekend. Obviously, the biggest winners of last weekend was Tennessee. Tennessee beat Bama in one of the great college football games. TCU beat Oklahoma State, which was a crazy game also. TCU, controls their own destiny. Then you have Ole Miss is still undefeated. Texas won, Fighting Illini won, Purdue won, Michigan beat the fuck out of Penn State. Penn State's a fraud team. So you have Michigan, Ohio State in the Big 10. Big 12, you have Texas, TCU, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma's okay. Kansas State, all still right there, which is crazy. Pac-12, you have USC, Utah, UCLA, Oregon, Washington, which is crazy. SEC, you still have Georgia, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Alabama. And then you throw in Mississippi State, Kentucky. Like you have all these different teams that are still right there. ACC has Syracuse, Clemson, Wake Forest. Like it's just college football right now is at its best because there's so many teams that have a chance to do something. And yeah, Pitt's 3-1 in the ACC. So, it's crazy. North Carolina in the ACC too. It's a great time for college football because there's going to be so many big games.
Losses Notre Dame.
Yeah, there's so many big games in conference play that has such big implications on the playoffs. Like the problem with Michigan, they're a good team, but the problem with them is outside of Ohio State, their schedule kind of fucking sucks. And that's not necessarily their whole fault because like the Big 10 this year outside of Ohio State and Michigan are fucking awful. But
their non-conference sucked.
And their non-conference is terrible. But if Michigan loses to Ohio State, like there's so many teams with one loss that have way better resumes that would probably get in over them. Same thing with Ohio State. If somehow Michigan beats Ohio State, Ohio State's resume, now, granted, they tried to play Notre Dame, and that's on Notre Dame for just being fucking horrible this year. But, like, other than that, Michigan's the only team, Like, if they beat Penn State loses again, you're looking at a 9-3 Penn State team with a Penn State team that had a pretty easy fucking schedule. So that's not that good. Then you're looking at Michigan hasn't really, like, whoever wins that game, if they beat, let's say Illinois, because I think Illinois has a better record and a better chance of being, I guess, 10-1, 11-1 than Purdue. Purdue's already has 2 losses. If they beat them in the Big Ten championship, that's going to be their second best win. Like it's like that's going to really hurt the Big Ten. USC losing, I think, kind of really hurts the Pac-12 because you could have had the scenario of like UCLA plays USC, whoever wins is undefeated still, and now that's not the case. So USC could win out, but at 11-1, do they get in? I don't think so. Big 12 is another one. Like if somehow Texas could rattle everything together and win the Big 12, they could get in. TCU controls their own destiny. SEC could get 2-3 teams in if like enough dominoes fall. I think Clemson's the only team in the ACC that has a chance of getting in, but like it is interesting because the ACC is probably as packed as it's been in a while with good teams. I don't know. It's an interesting time for college football right now.
Yeah.
Like every week seems like a big week now.
Yeah, it's great to have some more undefeated teams this deep into the season. We just haven't really been seeing that a whole lot the past couple of years. So, like we said, Syracuse, you got Kansas State, TCU, not necessarily undefeated, but 1 loss or better. Create some good narratives going into the rest of the season.
Yeah, and it's just like it's not easy walkover games for said Oklahoma State, said Clemson, said whatever that we're normally used to seeing. It's kind of like how the Big Ten normally is, where it's like Iowa's pretty good, Michigan State's pretty good. Penn State's pretty good. Like, where it's like when you play them back to back to back, it's hard to beat them back to back to back. But when you play them, when you play them once every 3 weeks, it's pretty easy to beat them. But like that's why, like for Clemson, it's not as easy as a task. Like going to Florida State. Florida State's a better team. They're not great, but like they're a very competitive football team. And then turning around and having to play Syracuse, that's not like an easy 2 weeks. Like then it rewind 2 years ago where it's like cakewalk. Okay, big road game, but it's not really a big road game. So like
also like Syracuse has kind of been Clemson's kryptonite in the last like 5 to 8 years. Like whenever they like have to play Syracuse, I feel like they always have a scare game.
No, that's I thought the same thing, and I was watching this show, and that was completely debunked. They've only covered the spread twice. Both times they lost. One of the times though was when Trevor Lawrence didn't play. So it's like, so it's like, but other than that, they've like beat them by like 30. But it's like, I mean, they have, I think, beat them twice, which is like a lot more than most ACC schools can say. But I someone else brought that up, and I thought the same thing. And then the guy was like, no, that's actually like they cover like most of the time. But I mean, they have beat them twice, like I said. So that's like, but Syracuse is good this year.
Yeah.
Their running back's good.
Yeah, his tweets after every game are like really weird, though. I don't know if you guys have seen him.
I haven't.
He tweets like, "We won the game 31-17. I'm proud of my team. Although I am proud of my team, but I don't think I played up to my standard. I rushed for 91 yards and I had 41 receiving yards. I will be better next week." It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I do remember
Have you seen that?
The very first week. That's the only time I've actually seen it.
Dude, it's so weird. He does it after every game too. And it's like, and like,
do you think he's being serious, or it's like kind of like?
Oh yeah, no, I think he's serious. I think he's weird. Yeah, I think he's weird like that. But there was one game where he was like, I rushed for 141 yards, 1 touchdown, I had 41 receiving yards. I will be better next week. It's like, dude, that's a really good. Like, if he's joking, it's very funny. If he's serious, it's like,
psycho.
Stop tweeting this, please. Like, this is just weird. But game days at Eugene. Oregon versus UCLA is a huge game. We're talking about non-conference schedules. Like, the SEC is like quietly, they had an insane non-conference wins this year. Like, Georgia beating Oregon like they did is looking like an absurd win. Arkansas, who's going to finish like 4th in their side, beat Cincinnati and went on the road and beat BYU. Those are like 2 pretty good wins. Bama beating Texas might turn out to be a really good win too. Now, we've all seen Texas
lose if Quinn Ewers plays that game too.
Right. We've all seen Texas, though. They could easily rattle off 3 to 4 losses in the next 4 weeks. Not saying they won't. But, and then Florida beating Utah. Florida's going to not be that good in the SEC, and they beat Utah, who is a very good football team. So, yeah, it's the SEC has like that in their back pocket, but with only 4 teams, it's, such minimum air for you to be able, with how many good teams there are. I don't think anyone's great. I think there's a lot of good teams, though, and like so many good teams, and like the Big Ten having not a good conference, and like the ACC, like in reality, if Clemson loses once, I don't think they can sneak their way back in. I think it's the same way with the Pac-12. The Pac-12 team has to go undefeated. So that's where you have the problem with all of that. But
yeah,
interesting fucking time. It's actually really exciting for a bunch of good games.
So what's the game of the week you're looking forward to?
I'd probably go Oregon UCLA, because like UCLA has been very fun to watch this year. Chip Kelly, like everyone has, said let Chip Kelly get his guys in, get his offense in, do this. And like last year they went like 7-5, looked better, but it's like, okay, this is Chip Kelly's year. Now he has to do it. And they look fucking good. DTR looks good. Like their defense looks good. And Oregon's one of them. Like, they lost to Georgia game 1, got their fucking asses kicked. And it was like, oh, Bo Nix still sucks. Oregon's soft. Like, what's going to happen? And then what'd they do? They've rattled off 5 or 6 straight wins. And it's like, okay, Oregon might be pretty legit. So it's like one of those, whoever wins this game could end up 11-1 or 12-0, or whoever loses could be 8-4, 9-3, because like you don't really know. And UCLA, this is their time though. Like this is win out, you're in the playoffs. UCLA. I mean, I know that's easier said than done, but win out, you're in the playoffs. So,
what about you, Zach? What's your what game are you looking forward to the most?
That game, but also I'm also intrigued for the Clemson Syracuse game.
yeah.
I think Clemson's they got a lot of like last year. Everyone kept saying that Dabo's done; he's not going to get it back, and he lost both his coordinators, and Clemson's back in it again.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah, but I actually think them losing their offensive coordinator helped. Their offense the past 3 years hasn't been as explosive as it normally is, and we see how bad Tony Elliott's doing at Virginia. Like it might have actually helped them because DJ looked like he wasn't a quarterback last year. He has the same stats. He has the same stats as Deshaun Watson through 6 games in Deshaun's junior year, which is like absurd to think. And like whoever they brought in, now that's credit to Dabo. Yes, like you have to bring in good guys or whatever, but like I think Dabo sometimes is too loyal, and I think Tony Elliott should have been gone probably after they weren't able to get to the national championship with Trevor Lawrence in his last year because their offense should have been way better than it was. They had studs everywhere, and so I actually think that might have helped them. But this is like to your point, Clemson. It's like a complete turnaround. Last year, they had like a top 5 defense. Their defense isn't that good this year. It's still pretty good, but it's not that good. But their offense is legit.
Yeah.
That'll be. Is it? Do you know where that is? Is that at?
I think it's at Clemson.
It's at Clemson,
right?
Yes.
Yeah, because the line's pretty fat.
Yeah, that's a huge difference.
I'm looking forward to Kansas State rolling to TCU.
That's a big game too. Kansas State's quietly 5-1.
Yeah, that's
honestly,
exciting.
Oklahoma State, Texas is a big game too.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many big games that like right now you may not think is a huge game, but like 3 weeks from now might be. You might look back and be like, that was a huge game right there. Like TCU, Kansas State. Like if TCU's able to win. Think about their last 3 weeks. If they're able to win this week, they went to Kansas when the whole world was on Kansas. Game day was there. Everything was there. Everything was against TCU because Kansas is a great story this year, right? They went on the road. Then they go back last weekend. They play Oklahoma State at home. Maybe the second best team in the Big 12. They win in double overtime. Then you come back and you play Kansas State this weekend, who's a top 25 team, who's a pretty good football team. And if you're able to rattle off those 3 wins right there, TCU might be for real.
Yeah. Like I can't say it enough. Just last couple of years, you just haven't really seen this many meaningful, competitive 1-0 loss matchups. So exciting time.
I feel this late in the season, you're always used to saying like, "Oh, okay, this team's going to be there when it's all said and done." Like. You don't really know what's going to happen right now in terms of the playoff because there's so many people in the mix for it.
Yeah. Of course, the most interesting year we get to fight for the top 4, arguably, at least this point through the season. And now we're expanding the playoffs.
Yeah, right. I do agree, though. This is like the first time in a while that it's like last year it was like, okay, Alabama, Georgia, you probably knew that they were going to go. The winner of Ohio State, Michigan was going to go. But, like, the loser wasn't because both did have a loss already. And then you had, like, okay, if Cincinnati can win out, they're in, and they play in a shitty conference, so they're probably going to do it. But if they lose once, they're out. And then it's like Notre Dame, they might be able to sneak in. Oklahoma State, Baylor, the winner of that could maybe sneak in. And that was really it, though. It was like that's kind of where the line's drawn. Yeah. That's it. This year, it's like Texas at number 22 right now. If they win the rest of the year, could go to the playoffs.
Yeah, I've never seen this many like players in the mix this late into a season that like fuck, this team could make the playoffs still.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like it's crazy.
It's awesome. It's like makes college football way better.
Well, I can hear Zach's turn signal start to go. Zach's got a little work dinner, so let's get to our picks so Zach can share his card before he's got to go.
All right, let's let Zach go first, and Zach, you can give your do or die.
Real quick. Through 7 weeks, everyone's negative, so I'm not even going to say the records or anything. It's time to perform.
Hey, 2 straight winning weeks by me.
Yep, 2 straight winning. Mike's on fire. Just got to keep going. Zach,
all right. So for my first play, it's one of the games of the week, but even though I mentioned the whole Syracuse thing, I think Clemson is a very explosive team, and they're back. I got Clemson minus 13.5. My next play, I got Ohio State, Iowa over 49. I've got Kansas plus 7.5. I've got UNLV plus 24.5 because the Irish are dog shit. I got Ole Miss plus 1.5. Oklahoma State plus 6.5 against Texas. They're at home. I just don't understand how Oklahoma State's getting 6.5 points. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I saw that too. That is pretty crazy.
I don't get it. I got Bama minus 21. I think they're gonna just play pissed off now with that loss. Saban's really gonna get on them. And then I got my do or die.
To the Bama point too. In all these years that we've watched Bama lose, whatever the right fucking term is, but you never really see them lose while scoring 50 points, unless it's like a national championship. Like they did lose to Clemson once, and it was like really high scoring. Maybe even both times they lost to Clemson. Well, the one time they got blown out, but like you don't really see them like all the times they lost to Ole Miss or Texas A&M. It was like 30s, right? Their offense was absurd on Saturday, which means their defense has to improve.
Yeah. Well, that one fucking receiver for Tennessee had 5 touchdowns on 6 catches?
Right. And that's like the scary thing. Like if their defense improves, they could just beat the shit out of everyone moving forward.
Like Tennessee didn't even have their best receiver in that game.
And like Tennessee's good. Like all these people were you know what I mean? Like Tennessee's legit. I don't know who would have beat Tennessee that day in Rocky Top. Like
remember when Hendon Hooker played for Vatek?
Yeah, I know. He's a stud too. Now you want to go with your card?
Sure. All right. So this is an interesting slate, but I'm self-professed not good at college football, so we'll give it a whirl. I'm going to take Kansas State plus the 3.5 at TCU. I think it's going to be a shootout, so I'll take the points. A&M, haven't bet them all year. Bucket minus 3. Rutgers hosting my Hoosiers, taking the Rutgers minus 3. I'm also on the Ohio State Iowa game as Zach was, but I'm taking the under 49. Liberty is hosting BYU. I'm taking Liberty with the points plus 6. Syracuse, it could be Clemson's time to finally lose one of these close games. So I'm going to take Syracuse's money line. I think it's great value at plus 400.
What is that? I was about to say it's
plus 400. So I'm definitely down to take a plus 400 in this spot. Oregon minus 5.5. Purdue plus 2. Purdue money line against Wisconsin plus 110. And then I got my do or die.
All right. App State plays tonight. Minus 9.5 against Georgia State. I'm gonna take them. Some of my lines might be a little different. I will update them after the show, though. I'm gonna take Kansas plus 7.5. I know one of you might have said that.
Thank you. I got it.
That Ole Miss LSU game just makes no sense to me.
Yep.
No sense to me. I'm gonna take A&M minus 3. It's kind of like I'm gonna take Penn State minus 3.5. I know I've ripped on them; they're fucking horrible. But Minnesota has the worst quarterback in college football, like the worst quarterback in college football.
It's wild because he was like good last year.
Yeah, he was like 3 of 12 with a pick.
Yeah,
he's like an 8th year senior.
Yeah,
so that makes no sense. I'm gonna take Pitt plus 2.5. Pitt money line plus 110. I think Louisville is just kind of done with their season. Oh my God. Okay. Well, no wonder why I'm not seeing all these lines. Fuck me. Now I'm
Are you just like an
oh
ACC?
no, it was just in like
Oh,
featured games. There's only like 12, and I was like, there's no way there's just this many football games. I kind of like Purdue too. I don't know. I'll probably add it, but right now I'm gonna stay. No, I'm gonna take Boise State +3, Boise State money line +118. They play at Air Force. I think Boise State has kind of figured it out a little bit. I'm gonna take TCU -3.5. I like TCU's quarterback. He's legit. And I definitely said my do or die.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, circle back to it. Zach, what's your do or die?
my do or die is Ole Miss money line against LSU.
Wow. What's the money line at?
+105.
Nice. All right. I can respect that. My do or die, I said their money line. I'm gonna take Syracuse with the points on the road against Clemson +13.5.
I thought you were gonna say their money line.
No, the money line's in my card.
Yeah. Okay. Mine is TCU -3.5. Looking at that line, I just don't think Kansas State can score with TCU, and I think TCU is fucking legit. And I think at home it's going to give them a big boost. But yeah, I like TCU -3.5.
All righty. Those are our college picks, predictions, and thoughts. Zach, thanks for joining, making time for the college portion of the show this week. We appreciate it.
Hey, boys.
See ya. All right. College football week 8. Also, we are using BetUS for all of our lines. We are partnered with BetUS. Our affiliate link is in the description. So if you use that to sign up for an account, that helps us out. Also, you get 125% sign-on bonus with cash and a 200% sign-on bonus when you use crypto. So you put $100 of Bitcoin into your account when you first start it. You get an additional $200 of BetUS credit when you sign up. So again, links in our description while you're down there. Subscribe. We're almost to 1,000 subscribers. We really appreciate it and like the video. Why not? So let's get to NFL.
Dude.
What?
Wait, let me say this real quick. So I have the Padres game in the background now. So it's 4-2 Phillies. Aaron Nola is the pitcher.
Yeah,
right?
for the Phillies.
Okay, Austin Nola is his brother, who's a catcher for the Padres. It's 4-2, guy on first, Nola versus Nola.
Oh, that's fire.
Nola hits a single to score the run, but they showed the parents, and the parents look pissed.
Oh, well, it's in San Diego, right?
Yeah, but they're wearing Phillies stuff.
Oh, they're not 50-50 split?
No, wouldn't you think that
up.
one of them would kind of be cheering?
They might just be rooting for the older sibling because they're assuming the younger guy.
Oh, the dad has a Phillies jersey over a Padres jersey, but you can't really see the Padres jersey. But every time they show him, he looks pissed off.
Interesting.
He didn't cheer. A lady turned around and tried to give him a high five, and he looked at her. He pointed at the Phillies.
Oh,
like, dude, your son just got a hit
in a playoff in the NLCS.
Yeah, and like your other son, who's the pitcher, has a way better chance of staying in the MLB than your son, who's a catcher.
Right.
Like
you might as well enjoy the moment.
Yeah, like any other guy, I get it. Like if anyone else gets a hit, like you want your son to get the outs, but like, come on, what are we doing here? Like your kid's playing in the NLCS and just got a huge hit.
Maybe they're just trying to create like a little media buzz so the San Diego's guy gets a little FaceTime.
Well, they're getting a lot of FaceTime right now. All right. Are we jumping to the NFL?
Yep, here? NFL week 7. We are past our first bye week. Set of teams that were on a bye week coming back. Didn't really feel like it missed a beat super hard. There were some good games. Obviously, Bills Chiefs.
Yeah, great game.
Pretty solid game. No complaints at all. Obviously, not quite as high scoring as most people would like, but still a very good game. Both
you called that.
Yeah, that was my do or die. Was the under?
Mhm.
Yep.
And there wasn't really ever a second where I thought it was going over actually either. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it all kind of seemed like it was going to stay under the whole time.
And both quarterbacks seem to be play very well, considering they're playing against. I think they both have top 12 defenses. So I mean,
Yeah, the thing about those defenses is like Tony Romo said this a bunch of times. Sometimes I can't. Like he's tough to listen to. Other times he's pretty entertaining to listen to. But he kept saying these defenses aren't going to let you beat them deep. And Mahomes and Allen are that good where they take what's given to them. Where I feel like a lot of people force it, and so it took them a lot longer to drive down the field.
yeah.
And so it was eating up clock. I think the first 4 drives ended on fourth downs, or one was a fumble, fourth down, a field goal, and a touchdown. And there was 5 minutes left in the second quarter. The time took forever.
Yeah, the time game in NFL has become a big stat with the analyst teams of these NFL teams. It's huge, and you even look at another game, for instance, San Francisco, Atlanta. I mean, they were talking about this on another podcast, but San Francisco took up an 8-minute drive, but when they were down 2 touchdowns, and then they didn't score any points. So the clock management and how long how you can create these long drives is super important. But when teams can control their span of possession and still score points, it's a devastating attack to have. And defenses struggle, and it bears more weight on the other team's offense. Oh my gosh, they're leaving us no time.
Yeah, and to that point, how much time, how many, the clock never really stops in an NFL game. So if you can work for first downs, you can take so much time off the clock.
Yeah, outside of the last 4 minutes of the second and fourth quarters.
Yeah,
it's rolling.
And the Niners are a perfect team of that. After the first quarter, because they had 2 guys go down to injury in the first quarter, they were down 7 defensive starters in the second quarter on. They were just banged up as hell. But that is the perfect defense with how, what's his name? Why can't I think of his name? Who's their head coach?
Shanahan.
Shanahan calls plays and stuff. That's the perfect team of time of possession. They run the ball that well, and their defense is very good. But yeah, it's also a lot of shitty games. I don't know if you feel that way. Even the Colts, Jaguars
last week
are
didn't have a ton of good matchups. Plenty of good teams playing bad teams, so it kind of took away from premier matchups being available. Sunday Night Football, Cowboys, Eagles. Eagles kind of in control the whole time, kind of reasserting their game plan dominance, and it's really impressive.
Eagles are fucking good.
Yeah. Other games across the league.
My Steelers won.
Your Steelers, huge win. What's wrong with the Bucs?
Dude, I get Tom Brady hasn't been playing well, but why does their whole team suck?
Yeah. I mean, they did take some offensive line injuries preseason, and
they've been banged up all year, though. Yeah,
but
they have been banged up. But you can't look this look. The Steelers' pass defense is so bad. I mean, they were playing the teams that they have played haven't been great, and they've been throwing for 300 yards on them.
Yeah,
Jacoby Brissett had an 80% completion percentage against them, and he's not good. Especially as the year has been going on, they have proven that he is just not good.
Yeah,
you would think Tom Brady, with all the weapons that they have, could at least get going.
Yeah,
Well,
I can clap it up for your Steelers. I'm glad Ryan's not here to cheer for him with you, but on a more depressing note, Thursday Night Football was. I didn't think there could be a game this year worse to watch than the Colts Broncos game 2 Thursdays ago, but my Bears somehow were able to break that stigma very quickly.
Yeah, and then there's a few pointers on that game. First, that punt returner sucks. You never feel that.
Jr.
Yeah, it should have been cut the next day.
Yeah, they did cut the Marset Smith guy that had the block in the back against the Vikings and then got stripped right at the end of the Vikings game.
Yeah, well, they should have cut Vasile Jones or whatever
Yeah.
too. But so Fields, it's like anytime he does make a good play, like first off, who dropped that pass at the end of the game?
Darnell Mooney. It
You
got
got
broken
like
up.
yeah,
but
but no, you have to catch that ball. You went up and you had it. He juggled it before he even got hit.
Yeah.
You have to catch that ball. Like you have to catch that ball.
I
That's
mean,
just
he should be wide receiver 3, and in that spot of the game, like that pass is not going wide receiver 3.
right, but like I guarantee there's a lot of wide receivers who are not the wide out one at their teams that would make that catch. A lot of receivers.
I'd say there's a handful.
No, there's a lot of receivers. The
And
ball
like
was put.
Darnell
the
just
ball
doesn't
was,
have Darnell doesn't have great size. Like I'm not
but
making
the ball
excuses.
was put in his hand.
Yeah, it was a great pass. It was a great pass.
And the
Darnell,
DB, it's not like the DB went and punched it out. He just hit it.
Yeah,
You can't drop it off of that.
Yeah.
Like
Darnell does not have good like jump ball 50-50 presence.
But to that point though, it's like anytime Fields does make a good play, his receivers do nothing to help him. Now they did have that long pass where they connected for the touchdown, the only touchdown that they scored. But then you like other plays, it's like everyone's blaming the play calling or this or that. It's like, Justin, if you just throw where a guy's open, he's wide open.
And the red zone, it's just red zone efficiency, like red zone efficiency. We got to the red zone 3 separate times with 0 points.
Yeah. Well, the first time it's like you can't, like you're not a great throwing team, right? So like sit back, make him like a pocket passer in the red zone is like not going to work, right?
Yeah.
Like honestly, if you like make him on the move or like do some read options or something like that and then kick a field goal, I think everyone would be okay with that. Like at least they tried. Like Justin Fields has proven he's not a pocket passer. He's just not. Like Lamar Jackson isn't either. There's some like guys are not. Like Carson Wentz is just nothing. He's not a pocket passer. He's not a athletic guy. He just sucks.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You look at all the up-and-coming quarterbacks in the league, like Tua when he's healthy, Jalen Hurts, like you said, Lamar, Josh Allen, like plenty of these guys are
better on the run.
Not fully reliant on their legs in the run outside of the pocket, but being able to create that bless you.
Thank you.
Being able to create that separation and give your offense a second chance at getting positive yardage is going to be a huge factor in offensive efficiency in the NFL moving forward, especially like once like some of these older quarterbacks that aren't quite as mobile are like fully out of the league, like Tom Brady, Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying. It's like you just have to you have to also help your guy out, right?
Yeah.
Like give him like he's clearly shown he's better when he's like moved around and whatnot. So it's like, I don't know. That was a tough game to watch. Like their defense is good. That's like a battle of teams that like the Washington football team should be way better than what they are though. Like they have some pretty good receivers. Carson Wentz is just that bad. Their line is horrible too, but like Terry McLaurin's a good receiver.
All right. I don't know why I said that.
No, you're good. You're good.
I just started thinking of something and I just like audible. But the other thing I want to talk about is like at this point in the season, there's some interesting teams and like some disappointing teams. But I just want to rapid fire you, maybe like 5 or 6 teams, say contender or pretender, if you think they're going to make the playoffs or not. So just Green Bay Packers.
They'll make the playoffs because they're in a shitty division.
Okay. New York Jets.
Pretender.
All right. New York Giants.
That's
Close.
tough.
I know.
They have a chance of making the playoffs, but they're not going to do anything in the playoffs.
Buccaneers. I mean,
if they don't turn around the next 3 weeks, they won't make the playoffs.
All right. Final one. Cowboys.
They'll make the playoffs.
Okay.
Their defense is good enough. Let me say this about the Bucs, though.
Sure.
They might not actually have to turn around because their division is probably the worst in football.
Yeah. And we'll be able to do something more like this closer to like week 10, week 11 too. Like sample size is still fairly small. So we'll get to our picks real quick. before we got to go. I'm just going to shoot mine off. Got the Lions plus 7.5 against the Cowboys. Jags -3 against the Colts. No, they're not playing the Colts. They're playing I can't remember. Titans are -2.5 against the Colts at home. Falcons, they covered every game. It's insane. Got to take the Falcons +6. I don't care who they play. Packers -5. I mean, I say it's a get right week every week, but fuck it. Packers -5. Chiefs rolling with the under in Chiefs games. Chiefs under 48.5. Chargers -6. Bears +9 against the Patriots on Monday Night Football, and then my do or die.
Speaking of pretenders and contenders, though, like the Broncos defense might be the best in the league.
Yeah.
And you get Russell Wilson, and you'd think like, oh, we'll be pretty good.
Yeah.
They're bad.
He looked all right in the first half. Like that was probably Russell Wilson's best for like half.
The first drive, he looked like old Russell Wilson.
Right. Yeah.
Like he looked really
so
good,
comfy.
and it was.
He looked very
agreed.
All right, your picks.
Yep. Let's see. We got. All right, NFL. I'm gonna go Cardinals -2.5 Thursday Night Football. I don't know. That game kind of sucks. Completely honest. Titans -2.5. I'm gonna go the Giants money line +130. Giants +3. I'm gonna go Broncos -1. I shouldn't be doing that, but I am. I'm gonna go the Steelers +7, and then the Patriots Bears under 39.5. My do or die is gonna be the Giants +3. I already said it, but that's my do or die.
Nice. My do or die is the Browns +6 against the Ravens. All right. So thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure to give it a like, follow us on social at Victory Lap Media and at Victory Lap Bets. And we'll see you guys next time.
All right, peace.